so have fun.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to some more Link to the Past Randomizer on Zelda Speedruns Marathon 2018. My name is Willard J. Bradley, and I'm here with my good friend. Sorry, hold on. What's it? Vitor. You may know him. He's a cool dude. He's one of the main devs for the randomizer, and he's going to be guiding me through my first ever commentary of Link to the Past for this awesome 1v1 race between ChristosOwen and ajneb174. How's it going, Vitor?
It's going well. Thank you, Willard. I think you'll do fine for your very first commentary ever.
Oh, I hope so. I'm really nervous right now. I'm so nervous. It's palpable.
Okay, before this shitfest continues, just kidding. Are you guys ready? I guess. I hope.
Ready as ever.
Okay, then we will go with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! And I have to start the timer as well while typing. Jesus. And we should be waiting for the stream to catch up. And Chris is actually slightly behind, so I will reload his stream and it should be fine. Good luck on both for both, and have fun with the commentary.
Yeah. All right, so Vitor, would you mind telling us a little bit about this Link to the Past randomizer? What the heck is it, and why are we all here?
Well, we're all here because Randomizer is a much more fun way to play a game that you already know and love. I've played this game so much as a kid, and getting replay ability out of it, because the game itself was it was designed to be randomized. It was made in such a way where it's gated in a whole bunch of different ways by all the items that can get you to different places. Although we're going to quickly talk about what's happening here, which is the normal escape sequence of the game. And in that in this escape sequence, the uncle normally gives you a sword, but very, very recently we changed it such that he'll give you some type of weapon that will get you to the end of escape.
This started out like perfect with bombs at Link's house and bomb from Uncle for that beautiful bomb escape, and then it got bailed out by one of the best weapons in the game, the hammer. So I went from extremely excited to extremely disappointed. Now I'm just neutral, but you know.
Absolutely. So the game guarantees our runners bombs, but was super kind enough to give them a hammer as well. And the hammer does tempered sword damage, which is the 3rd level of sword, and is one of the coolest weapons, I agree, in the game. And even the original devs of the game made a huge joke out of it. When you collect it over in the Palace of Darkness, throws up a message about MC Hammer, where they are making a reference to the infamous rapper.
Now, hammer is it is a very good weapon. It's very strong. It does have a bit of a wonky hitbox at times, depending on which angle which cardinal direction you're facing when you use it. It's especially difficult at the beginning of the game when maybe you miss a few shots and you get bopped in the head for it. But other than that, hammer is a really good starting item, as one of those items that kind of one of the gatekeepers into the rest of the game. For those that know Link to the Past, basic setup is the basic first goal really after we get through escape is to get into the Dark World, and there are many ways to get into the Dark World. One of the items that does get us into the Dark World is the hammer. So when you see a hammer right at the beginning, you're kind of like, oh sweet, I need this. It's also one of the required items in the game. Yeah, for standard randomize, we have versions of the game where you have to play through the opening sequence, the whole escape sequence. We do have versions of the game that you can skip the opening sequence and just go wherever the heck you want. I prefer open mode because of that, because escape is boring, especially when you play this game and when you play the vanilla game or the NMG speedrun. But, some people, it's good to have options, right, Vitor?
Absolutely. Actually, I'm a bigger fan of the standard mode where you do have to go through escape. It gives you a good 5 to 6 minutes, generally, to kind of collect your thoughts and get yourself in the mode of playing the game. I do love open mode as well, which is just throw yourself in the world and get going as quick as you can. But right now we have Christos over on kind of doing some beeping strats through the escape. It looks like he took a few hits from our friend the ball and chain guard before he got his big key.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with that hammer hitbox. You kind of got to get up close and personal with of course it's only 2 hits to take out the ball and chain guard, but still, he does a lot of damage. Now you guys are probably already you guys are very smart. I can already tell just from because you're watching this speedrun marathon. But you can see on screen we do have 2 non-Link or non-Link-ish characters. On the right side, we have Nature Link, which is, I know, one of Ben's favorites. He's pretty goofy looking. He's got that little leaf. And then we got Vivi. Always sporting the leaf. Wearing a hat, though, but, And then Vivi on the left side, which I am not well-versed in all the Final Fantasy games. Which one is he from?
I'm going to say he's from one of them.
Okay. I'm going to go with 5 or 8. 8. I'm going to go with 8.
Let's go with 8.
8 sounds good. That's the magic number.
They come back in other games generally, right? So we'll say Vivi is 8, 11, and 3.
Is it 9?
Or 12.
12, okay.
Who knows? 4?
We can just... Okay, Vitor, please tell me, why does it seem like, for this version of the game, that you're always going to at least get multiple attack weapons in the opening of this game? What's up with that?
That's what I'll call perception bias.
No. I'd say 9 times out of 10. You get
9 times out of 10. You get multiple weapons. Okay, that's entirely possible. We'll take a look at the data and double check that and see how often that is.
So this is it's basically like a normal standard game now. Now that we got that sword, we could just pretend like we got a sword from Uncle. Everything's fine, and we get the lamp. So it's, basic standard escape plus a hammer and a bottle. No big deal.
It's light. Well, see, one of the cool things about Randomizer is sometimes you get to play a game where you get a whole bunch of stuff up front and you get to zoom through the game as quickly as possible. There's also potential for, because you get so many items, our runners are going to be faced with a lot of options, and these choices that they make, depending on what they have, can really, throw the race in one person's favor over the other.
Yeah, if anyone's watched some of the tournament matches or whatnot, especially like, Chris and Ben have faced off multiple times in the tournaments, including the spring tournament of last year, where they faced off in a Game 5 scenario for the championship. You've heard the term probably 100 times now, the term Go Mode, which is a term that we use to signify that you have everything you need to comfortably beat the game, or not even comfortably, could even be uncomfortably, like a Master Sword Steel versus Ganon. It all depends on where you're at, but Go Mode essentially means that you don't need to actually open up any more chests aside from getting the big key to clear a dungeon. Or small keys. And we have the glove in Lost Woods, which is going to open up some more options for us, especially with that lamp. We can actually get up to Death Mountain already.
Absolutely. And our runners they're probably going to still clear Kakariko. I noticed that both of them decided not to check the Lumberjack item, which could potentially mean a required Aghanim kill. And at this point, the only thing that would require them, other than East Arc World access, would be the Moon Pearl being locked by Aghanim in some way, either on the pyramid or the pyramid item having the item that gets to the Moon Pearl itself.
Hey, can someone tell Chris to mark his hammer on his personal tracker? Can someone?
He's never going to mark it.
Nope. I'm already mad. I'm just mad looking at it right now. It's very frustrating.
He doesn't need the hammer.
But yeah, this is Kakariko Village, home to several chests and kind of our usually like the safest opening you can go for at the beginning of the game. There's a lot of options. You'll usually find a ton of stuff over here that will decide the next play that you make. Could easily find the next progression item here. Rarely do you leave Kakariko without finding at least one progression item. I'm already anticipating finding at least another sword.
I'm thinking that we're going to find the flute and another bottle, because they already have 2 bottles. This is bottle full seed.
Holy crap, that hideout was trash. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Might as well have just made it vanilla and gave us a bunch of big 20s, because then we'd have at least enough money to get to the bottle vendor, which is coming up. Hopefully, you need 100 rupees to purchase his item from him, and that normally gives you the bottle, but that is also randomized, so... And who knows? He might still give you a bottle.
He's usually laundering money.
Alright, well that's good. Both players will have enough rupees for that now. especially after that chest and that chest. Okay, bottom of the well is just full of money. That's clearly the real thieves' hideout at this point.
No, that's the wishing well.
That's all right. Single arrow. That was definitely worth the 100 rupees right there.
That is one of the unique trash items in the game. The single arrow normally resides in Palace of Darkness, downstairs in the rupee room on the left-hand side. Only one of them in the entire game.
So we're still finding more rupees, which at this point is still good. There is another expensive purchase that both players may have to make later on. Normally you go visit the King Zora to buy the flippers from him for 500 rupees. And so it's always good to have that kind of money. But I feel like, for the most part, money is plentiful in this game. Rarely do you have to see players actually farm rupees to get to Zora.
It has been known to happen, though, every once in a while. And it looks like we get the terrible boomerang. There's a much better version somewhere else in the game, and I hope if our runners see it, they take it immediately.
Wow, this was actually the worst Kakariko I've ever seen. There was nothing in there at all except money and a boomerang. So that bodes well for the rest of this run, I'm sure.
Only here on ZSR.
Only here. That's amazing.
So a stacked escape into a pretty bad Kakariko, and Ben, after not getting anything in Kakariko, goes, you know what, there's probably something in the race game. So he's just going to go for it.
It's a safe assumption. It saves you a little time from walking down and checking it. But you lose time if it's nothing.
And there's the save and quit midair.
That should be fine. That wasn't a layer change, so we're good, right? Right, Vitor? We're good? Nothing can possibly go wrong.
We're fine. Overworld hops are generally safe.
Okay, good. Guys, don't listen to anything we were just talking about. This is not important. Not important info at all. Don't worry about it, okay? But yeah, so what both of our runners are doing now is they're knocking out all the what we call Sphere 1 locations. It's all the locations in the game that have 0 requirements to get to, that you can get right off the bat at the beginning of the game. And then once those kind of start running dry is when we start to decide if players are going to hop into dungeons. And there is our Moon Pearl. So we have Dark World access less than 12 minutes into the game.
So our runners have just a huge amount of options here. They can continue finishing the South Shore track, or they can go off into the Dark World, and with the hammer and the gloves, they can go into any portal into the Dark World except for on Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for Death Mountain, we still need to find a hookshot or the mirror. A lot of times players, if they have this opportunity to go to the Dark World this early, will still opt to go ahead and check the Light World locations, because especially when we're so few items in, like, there's got to be more items around here somewhere. We got a blue mail in the Mini Moldorn Cave. What else we got here? There's the flute! Okay. Flute is good. Flute is really good for routing and movement, overworld movement.
Really wish it was in Kakariko. I love finding it there.
Mm-hmm. If you can get a bottle and the flute in Kakariko, then you're like, alright, cool. I don't have to come back here.
Yep. Well, until you find potentially the powder.
Yeah. Or the mitts to do like blacksmith and stuff.
Absolutely.
That blue mail is actually really nice to have this early, because going into the Dark World with only 5 hearts is pretty terrifying. There's a lot of enemies in there that do 2 to 3 hearts of damage. So, speaking of 2 to 3 hearts of damage, these crabs are also pretty dangerous too. Not so much with blue mail, but and a nice little 8 bomb drop from Chris right there. And we see Ben going for one of the probably more popular tricks in this game, the fake flipper. Essentially what you do is you hop in the water and you hit the water right as you're about to screen transition, and it basically tricks the game into thinking that you have the flippers when in fact you do not. The only dangerous part about doing that is if you take damage, the game will check to see if you have the flippers. It'll be like, hey, you don't. Let's put you back on the land. And if you're not in the same screen that you hopped in the water from, the game would normally soft lock you. But for the randomizer, it would just insta-kill you, just to save people the trouble of having to reset and start from the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
did I do that right, Vitor?
Really nice.
Did I explain that good?
You explained that. That was pretty much exactly right. And the reason we kill you is because we're such nice people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want you
want
to
to
have
see. We don't want to see, you know, resets 20, 12, 20, whatever minutes in. That's no fun.
No, not at all.
Of course, unlike
the
the NMG, like the speedrun category, the non-randomized version, you can save and quit this game. So usually it only lays like a couple minutes, unless you just forget to save and quit at all.
You actually might be required in this game to save and quit for the randomizer. There are cases where you have to collect an item in the dark world and don't have the mirror. And then your next item might be back in the light world, and the only way to do that is through a save and quit.
Oh, nice half magic in the back of Sahasrala's hut. And we have Chris up on Death Mountain. He's going to go save the old man. The nice part about doing that is it will actually unlock the third light world starting location. You see Ben starting from Sanctuary after a save and quit. Chris will be able to save and quit and start back on the mountain whenever he wants to. Of course, having the flute kind of negates the usefulness of that to a certain degree, because you could always just flute back up there. But
Absolutely. But it is a nice place to start.
I wonder if, personally, as a player of this game, if I get the flute early, I like to flute over to the desert area first and just knock out Agnes Cave. It's one of those one-off locations that's really easy for players to just completely ignore for forever. And especially because we're still kind of looking for more items. I could easily see a sword there, maybe a fire rod. I don't know.
If it's a glove or the mirror or anything of that nature, you'd be very upset to not go get it soon. So yeah, I'm with you. I generally just go straight to 6, check the ledge, and then immediately pop on over to Agina.
And I like Ajneb's routing, Ben's routing. He got the flute in the mini Molder Cave and opted to go ahead and knock out the fake flipper locations before going to Ice Rod, because he knew he could just flute back to 8 and go check the Ice Rod Cave later. We did get a map check. I think we actually got a map check in the Light World, I believe, real quick.
Yeah, it was Skullwoods and Ice Palace are 5/6 crystals, and I believe I saw a pendant at Swamp and Misery Mire.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And we do have our first trip to Hype Cave. There's a lot of items here, 5 items. There's our Titan Mitts, so that's a good.
See, it's already hype.
Bombos. And
A little more hype. I'd say that was a 2 out of 5 on the hype scale.
I'd give it a hype out of hype. It wasn't, Titan Mitts is really nice, especially when the first thing you get right when you go to the Dark World is Titan Mitts. The nice thing about it is his trip to the west over here will allow him to. There's some rocks over here that you need the Titan Mitts in order to lift up, so he'll be able to go right up and go to Thieves Town, which as a crystal would make it a good option. Yo, Vitor, what's Ben doing right now? What's he doing?
So Ben here, picking up ether and 300 more rupees, they seem to be just finding all the cash, is doing another trick called Water Walk, which, if you have the Moon Pearl and you're fake flippering, and you go into an entrance and leave, because you're still in the water state when you enter, when you exit, the game does a world check and says, all right, if you have the Moon Pearl, you should be standing, and puts you on top of the water and treats water just like something you can walk on top of. It's really an interesting trick. You can also couple it with a few other ways of like stored water walking to get to some other areas in the game that are much more difficult to get to.
It's also really nice when you have the boots, because then you could just book it across the water. Man, okay, so Light World was a bust, but now we're starting to find all of our crazy items. We saw Christos picking up the mirror from the Stump Kid, which allowed him to immediately check Circle of Bushes, the little cave south of there, and Ether Medallion in the Waterfall Cave, and then Zora dropping the mushroom. So Ben's going to go right on over here, turn in that mushroom, and see what item he gets.
I'm hoping for something good, and if not, I hope he just resets his game.
We all, some of us may know what happened that one time.
Well, actually, no, resetting here is fine, because then you can continue to hold on to that mushroom in case later you want to check the Magic Bat when you have the Red Cane to perform another glitch in the game that we'll get to if anyone actually ever does it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this routing for Chris is working out really well, being able to find that mirror and then immediately getting Mitts and mirror allows him to go over here. He'll be able to do this little frog boy. You normally turn in, he's a little blacksmith. You rescue him and he gives you a sword upgrade in the base game. But in this, of course, that is also randomized. So this is one of those things that Vitor was talking about earlier. There, if you don't have the mirror, you can actually save and quit with the frog, and he will stick with you when you load the game back up. Because sometimes the blacksmith is holding the mirror, which you normally need to do this. So let's see what he has today.
I'm thinking he's gonna have some money. That's my guess, though. That's. And
Seems
then
like seems like a safe guess.
Yeah.
How about a fire rod?
Well, he's gonna prove me wrong. They're busy there pounding out fire rods.
That's a really good find, actually, because he's gonna go ahead and do. Oh, well, he does have the flute, so he'll be able to turn in purple chest real quick. The nice thing about this now is he'll be able to do Thieves Town and then immediately just go up and do Skull Woods. He has a sword. He has the fire rod.
He might even do Skullwoods first, although fighter sword, probably not the first thing you want to be doing Skullwoods with.
Yeah. We need a sword just to get to Mothula, the boss of that dungeon. There's a vine hanging up that you have to cut down, and you can only cut down with a sword in this version. Of course, if you were to play another version that I'm a big fan of, called a swordless, where hammer is your main weapon, we've made. I say we as in I actually made it. Vitor, this is my baby. I did the thing.
You did the thing.
I did.
We'll go with that for today.
They've made some adjustments to the game to allow you to kind of play without a sword, which is really cool. There's a lot of really cool game modes for Randomizer aside from this one that they're playing right now.
Actually, the truth is, Willard warped into Hyrule and cut down those vines himself.
Yeah, it's in the lore.
It's in the lore.
It's in the lore. Blame Willard. Ha ha ha. Funny joke. All right, so, anyway. Thieves Town it is.
And Ben is doing essentially the things that Chris did a bit before. Although Ben has some other knowledge that Chris may eventually end up needing, especially that Bombos medallion may come in very handy for Turtle Rock. We won't know for a little while longer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, are you talking about the Ether medallion from Waterfall Cave?
Yeah, we'll talk about that one too. That's the one that is actually the one that makes a difference, though.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so these medallions are pretty important. We're definitely going to be needing it for the dungeon that Vitor mentioned, Turtle Rock, which is up on Death Mountain in the Dark World. You need these medallions to actually open up the dungeon and get inside them. Now, of course, Meyer, being a pendant, doesn't necessarily mean it's not required. There's a good chance that all dungeons could be required. You never know.
That is true.
Ben painting a lovely picture for us.
Yep, he does it every single time. I don't know what his secondary action is.
But we find the flippers in Thieves Town. So all that water walking that Ben was doing earlier, Chris will not be able to do, because of course you can't water walk with the flippers unless you have the boots, which is a completely different scenario than explained prior, but still a really cool thing that you could do. I feel like bringing up glitches that we're probably not going to see is just confusing to the viewers, Vitor.
But
at the same time, it leaves you wanting more. You're like, wait, you can do that? I want to see that. I better check out more Link to the Past Randomizer.
Absolutely, and watch the glitched modes when anyone's doing any of that. Those are a lot of fun. There's, in fact, an entire logic built around major glitches and one built around a bunch of overworld major glitches, clipping through the overworld, which, if anyone's doing that, I suggest you check it out, because it's really cool to see some of the crazy ways you can get around this game by breaking it in the overworld.
Highly recommend it. Overworld glitches especially. It's one of my favorites. Really fun to play.
I agree. Every time I play it, I'm always caught off guard by, like, I know that this is a trick I can do. I didn't realize I was going to be required for this particular seed.
Mm-hmm. Every time I get the boots in a non-overworld glitches game, I'm like, I want to do it. I just want to. I want it. It's so hard not to. It's really tough. And it looks like Ben is opting not to grab the purple chest. so might be a choice to try and save some time. We do know it was only a heart container, but he might go back and get that later.
Yeah, I think it's at this point he has so much he can do. Probably spend less time in the overworld and more time kind of finishing up dungeons that he knows he has to clean up.
There is talks. There are rumors about that this game can be either extreme. It's like very dungeon heavy. A lot of people like to talk about this seed, all of a sudden everything's in the dungeons. This seed, everything's in the overworld. But really, the devs try and go for as balanced of a fill logic, I guess, as you could possibly do to make all the games seem more balanced, or at least more randomized.
But recently, the most recent version, we did a slight shift to keep things a little less in dungeons. We're kind of iterating and trying a few different ideas. Still, I mean, it's always fun to kind of play with it, and so long as the game is always random, everyone's usually happy. But you got to keep it spicy, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why we changed it up. Keep saying we. That's why you guys change it up every version, right? So that we have to relearn the game.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's no fun once you figure it out.
Right? Then you might as well just play the vanilla game, right?
Well, I mean, the vanilla game is a wonderful game to play, and multiple times too.
All right, well, at 25-25, ChristosOwen is our first player to pick up a crystal, the first crystal acquired in the game. Fighting flippers and a shovel in here. Shovel is what we like to call a fetch quest. Essentially, it is a item that serves only one purpose, and that purpose pretty much is to go use it to get another item.
Right. Earlier, Ben had the lovely fetch quest of the mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
Which net him 50 rupees that he kind of sneered at and walked right past.
I think Ben ran into that bunny beam on purpose just so he could show that beautiful bunny spray.
I think that certainly looked like it was on purpose.
one of the strangest bunny sprites in the game. Yeah, finding a shovel in Thieves Town is kind of frustrating because how do you conveniently route that in? Especially if you've already been to Stumpy, you've already been to Circle of Bushes.
I don't think shovel is convenient to route in anytime you get it.
I mean, the worst for me is like if you take the south route up to Kakariko and you find shovel in like Lost Woods, you're like, oh,
well, that's fair.
If I had gone the other way around, it would have been completely different. So yeah, that's that, and like Ice Rug Cave, Agnes Cave. There's a lot of these one-off locations that are kind of frustrating to try and route in efficiently because, it's a race. You got to move as quickly as you can. So going out of the way for a single location doesn't always seem optimal until it is that one item that you need to beat the game, and then it's extremely optimal.
Yeah, our runners are kind of lucky in that they have options. They can go into Ice Palace right now if they wanted to. What was that?
Fighter sword. Well, they have Fire Rod, and where was Half Magic again?
Ben found that.
Yeah.
Where did he find that?
Where has Chris not been? It might have been all the the fake flipper stuff.
That sounds vaguely familiar. But they can also go into, not complete, but they can go into Swamp Palace. Probably not the most ideal choice at this time, being a pendant, but still a few items that they could check without having the hookshot.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about this is like, you're trying to route as efficiently as possible. You don't want to go into dungeons you can't complete.
By the way,
but sometimes you have to.
Sorry, by the way, Half Magic was Closet.
Oh, yes. Perfect. Thank you. Ben did go check Sahasrara's items. Neither player has gone into Eastern. That's one of those like early games locations that a lot of people will go to right off the bat. But ideally, if you could save it until later when you have the bow to complete it. Of course, it is a green pendant today, so you don't necessarily need to beat it to beat the game. But dude, what if we get another bow in Eastern Palace? Isn't that the best?
I love Bow and Eastern Palace. I love Bow and Pod, actually.
Bow and Pod is stupid, Vitor. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the best thing ever.
I'm a little bit more inclined to go into Pod if I already have the lamp, especially because of how many items the lamp blocks off, or not having the lamp blocks off in Palace of Darkness.
Christos finding out the infamous, if you are right up against a torch and shooting the fire rod to the right, it does not light the torch. You have to be at least 1 pixel away from it.
Is that only if you're facing the right?
Yeah, facing to the left, I think you can butt up right against it and it'll light it.
Huh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was a difference between left and right.
There's a tense fight here, though. Fighter Sword Moth, and with the hammer.
Yeah, that's the nice thing is the hammer does tempered sword damage, so... And normally in the game you would get the tempered sword before this fight, and makes it pretty insignificant. So nice use of the hammer, and also Bothiel giving him some pretty friendly patterns. He also got that nice bank shot off that block down at the bottom of the level, so that was cool.
Yeah, that was a really nice cleanup with the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
One of the better versions.
Easy game, dude. Super easy.
Our runners make it look easy because they're both extremely well versed in A Link to the Past.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason why Ben is 2-time Link to the Past tournament champion. Do you think he's gonna get the three-peat? Oh man,
it's possible.
We got a ways to go though.
Every time he wins, makes it better for me. That's all I'm saying.
It makes it easier.
Just keep putting the same name in the game each time.
Can't go wrong. All right, and Chris still looking. There's one more. There's 2 items in Skullwood, so Chris is still looking for the other item, I believe. The big key that was in the back section, so now he has to backtrack all the way to check or he might just be routing to the east, and I'm just making stuff up. Also good. Okay, good. No, I'm not crazy. That first thing I said was correct.
It was absolutely correct.
Okay.
He thinks there's something in this chest. It's rare that he miscounts, but it happens. But he certainly thinks there's something in it.
That is something right there. Wow. Kena Samaria. Okay. Whew. That is one of the required items that we'll need in order to complete Turtle Rock. It can also be used to complete Misery Mire, if that happens. And it's also a very convenient item to be used in a lot of certain situations throughout the game, especially once we get up into the final dungeon. Some particular rooms.
At this point, we now have access to Turtle Rock. We can do everything except for kill Trinex in there.
Yeah, with that mirror, we'll be able to warp up here to go visit Tower of Hera, which is another crystal dungeon. We have a fire source and a weapon, either sword or hammer, which allows us to defeat the boss on top of the tower.
The best boss ever.
Debatable.
He just wants hugs. That's why he's always coming after.
How can he... Like, he wants to give hugs, or he wants to receive hugs? Because it's hard to hug when you don't have arms.
Is there a difference? Isn't giving a hug receiving a hug? I'll let you mull on that one for a little bit.
You make a very strong case here. Chat!
I'm going to say he's also the most procreative boss in the game. I'm pretty sure there are more mini Moldrums than any other mini character in the game.
Can we get our Link to the Past scientists in on this? Can they go back and count how many mini Moldrums and mini Helmisars are in the game? Actually, no, that's definitely correct. Just because, you know, there's mini Moldrums and they have their own cave dedicated to them.
They do have a cave.
We don't have a mini Helmisar cave. Do we have any, like, we need some mini Hyrule castle guards. Put them in the game. I want that.
Just get a few more mini things.
Ah. Oh, nice use of sword spin to get right up along that edge there without falling down. It's kind of hard to set up that bomb jump well if you don't have the boots. Boots are very nice for setting up bomb jumps because it kind of gives you a little bit more room to breathe. And taking a fall there is not convenient at all because you fall down. That was nice too, because you fall down 2 sets of 2 levels and have to walk back up. This is some really clean movement from ChristosOwen today, so he's ready. He's ready to get that W.
Well, it's currently, I believe, a 5-4 series for the two of these runners. 5 games to 4 with Ben in the lead. So if Chris can pull this out, they'll be tied up again in their 1v1 matches.
Mm-hmm. If for those that watched any of the Link to the Past tournaments, I believe the last time these two met were in... I don't know if they met in the Key Sandy tournament. I don't remember. But in the fall tournament, they faced off in the top 8, where Ben defeated Chris 2... I don't remember if it was 2-1 or... Yeah, it had to have been 2-1, because I commentated one of those races. It was a good one. And of course, these two also met in the Link to the Past spring tournament, Randomizer Grand Finals. That beautiful Game 5. Who could ever forget that?
Ben's getting really close on... The setup is beautiful. The only problem is he's not getting the right vertical pixel. I think he's got it now. But as you walk out of that door, you actually drop the bomb in the perfect spot.
Walk out the left door?
Yeah, as you're walking out a door, if you drop the bomb, and then it's just a matter of getting Link on the proper Y coordinate to be able to get hoisted across. That knowledge right there, remembering that the fairies were in the tree, that was good.
Oh wow. There's a bow. There's the bow in the desert. Okay. See, this is why you flute to desert right at the beginning of the game, because that is some great knowledge. Of course, no one has actually dove into Eastern or Palace of Darkness, the bow required dungeons, so that's fine. This is fine, but this is really, really good for Ben. It is one of the required items that you need to complete the game, not only because Palace of Darkness is a crystal dungeon, but you also need them to get through the final dungeon of the game, Ganon's Tower. There are some particular enemies that are only beatable with the bow and arrow.
And Ben has the complete set of dishes, which means he doesn't have to worry about what Turtle Rock is anymore.
And when you have all the medallions, you don't have to worry about checking. A lot of times players will even route in just to check to see what the dungeon requires. Because, of course, if you find a medallion in a dungeon, you're like, I don't know if I need this or not, or I don't know if I'm in go mode or not. But if you have that knowledge prior, or if you have all the medallions, then you don't have to worry about it. Absolutely. And there's the red mail in Spiral Cave. Well worth the walk, I think.
I think insofar as that goes, yeah. It's now Christos is going to be feeling really comfortable. Normally he's used to doing NMG runs where you're 13 hearts with green mail. So being 9 hearts with red mail should be... He won't be picking up anything out of the way that's a heart from here on out.
I'm still impressed. 36 minutes in, we're only on our first sword. But, a lot of times there's always that chance that we're going to find swords in the last dungeon of the game, in Ganon's Tower, in which the players will have to defeat a good chunk of enemies.
Yeah, sorry, I put three swords in the last 3 chests in Ganon's Tower. I thought that would be a good idea, So.
Did you really?
No, of course not.
Bamboozled. All right.
Randomizer, not plandomizer, my friend.
It would be funny though.
We get a bug net in the Paradox Cave, so named because in the overworld, you enter at the bottom of the mountain and you're in the middle of, or you're on the top floor here, or if you enter above it, you end up on the bottom floor where Chris is just landing.
It makes sense, okay?
It makes no sense.
Wait, what? Wait. Huh. That is... Like, I knew that already. I'm not... This is not my first time commentating. I mean, this is my first time commentating, so that is... My mind is immediately blown. Wow. VTorp. Thank you for that.
This is the knowledge. Ben going into the Desert Palace. So if there is a key on that torch that he just took a look at, then boots are technically required to finish the Desert Palace.
Alright, so I think at this point it'd be a good idea to kind of do a little recap about what we're going to need to finish out the rest of this game. Of course, we do need to find at least a Master Sword, because of course the final boss of the game can't be defeated with just the Fighter Sword. in this version, in this game mode. We are still looking for the Ice Rod in order to defeat the boss of Turtle Rock. We need the hook shot. I think, as far as we know, I think that's it. Those are the last items that we need, unless I'm missing something else.
Nope, that's it. Technically, I know that Ben could hover. So if he found the boots, he could potentially forego the hook shot. I don't think he generally does it in races, though, so he'll be looking for the hook shot as well.
And it looks like Chris is going to go for the Spike Cave play. He's doing it without any safeties, so that's why he's going out of his way to make sure to get that fairy, because otherwise he would not be able to get through this without taking a death. He does also still have a red potion in hand, but I'm sure he's going to want to save that for later.
Yeah, the fairy revival's going to give him a huge amount of iframes to finish off this walk, and he knows that.
Wow, who dies in Link to the Past? I mean, come on. This is supposed to be the best of the best duking it out, but he's still dying like that? Come on.
These purposeful deaths. Another thing to note is that we found out Turtle Rock is the Ether Medallion, which Chris does not have, and is sitting at the Waterfall Ferry. So hopefully soon he catches up on that, and that doesn't end up trolling him.
There's a good chance he'll probably check that either before going into Ice Palace or after completing Ice Palace, since it's within the same area. And I'm sure he's thinking about it because he does have that flipper. So he's going to go ahead and pop over here. Hopefully he will get that bow. He's not going to go check first, but he's definitely going to get it.
Yeah, he'll work the check into when he goes to defeat Desert Palace.
Oh, and just bombos for Meyer. And just a piece of heart from Desert Palace. So the two items in Desert Palace, not progression items, but still nice to get them out of the way and get that crystal. Ben now sitting at 3 with Chris not too far behind, assuming he goes in and does Desert as well. All right, where is Ben off to next? He's got some options here, and it looks like he's going to be going for the Eastern
the pod Eastern. Yep.
Now, I would assume he would do all of pod, and if he doesn't find any progression in pod first, he'll potentially go in and do Eastern as well. Eastern is a pretty quick dungeon, even when you don't have the boots. But with it being a green pendant, like the vanilla game, you can turn in that green pendant to Sahasrara, and he will give you another item. So Eastern Palace potentially having 3 useful items, or 3 garbage items, or a combination of both.
4 with the green pendant.
Did I say 4?
No, 4 with the green pendant. 3 are in the dungeon originally. How's it going?
I really gotta say, before the run, I said, hey, I volunteer, I will do the tracking. This is so stressful! Jesus Christ! Oh my god!
It's a lot to keep track of. There's a lot of items in the game. And
these 2 runners are fast.
Mm-hmm. Oh... I mean...
It's a Zelda thing.
It's a Zelda thing, yeah, let's go for it. People love throwing numbers in chat. People love spamming chat. It's the best.
That's what they love doing.
That's what we live for. Wouldn't be Twitch without spam.
So, Willard, we got Ben in Palace of Darkness. Do we think that he's going to find anything exciting here? Would you want to see anything exciting here?
I am anticipating an Ice Rod at some point. Maybe not in pod. But maybe maybe an Eastern instead. I want pod to be dead. I want it to be junk.
You want
maybe
it to
a
be
sword.
A full clear of waste of time?
Yeah. Plus a sword.
Plus a sword.
Because the sword is nice, but it doesn't like immediately progress you unless you're going for like book stuff. It's still required, but there's always a good chance you're going to find one in G Tower anyway.
Absolutely. G Tower, the perpetual pit of extra swords. Ganon thought it would be the best way to stop Link from, finishing him off is just take all the swords and keep them there.
Dude, game's hard when you don't have good swords.
That's true. But he left the hammer hanging around.
Yeah, he put that like right outside Hyrule Castle. Like, what was he thinking? What was he on?
He wasn't thinking very much at that point in time.
There it is. There's the ice rod. All right, cool.
Wow. We are
Easy game.
1 item away from go mode. There's still a chance that we're 2 items away from go mode, but we're certainly 1 item away from go mode at this point.
Yeah, there's always a chance that those boots could be required for something later on. You kind of just assume you're going to find a sword in G Tower, but it would still be preferred to find one outside of G Tower in case it's like an early big key or something.
Absolutely.
But I'm excited. We will get to see the Turtle Rock play, potentially, hammer strats on Trinex, which I really enjoy. That's one of my favorite bosses in the game is Trinex, just because of all the different ways you can fight him.
In all the times that I've gone down the Falling Bridge, I've never once thought to just walk right into that mini Helmasaur. If you line it up just fine, you just sail right on through. Well, that's the thing is,
if you're off by a pixel, you just sail right into the hole.
That's what it is I'm always dodging him and falling off or getting hit off, and it never just occurred to me just walk straight up the center and hit him. Ben also picks up a nice little safety item, the blue cane, and seeing his key count 2 when he comes back up after clearing all the other locations, knows for a fact that the Harmless Hellway chest has a key. So it's just a key for a key, and he knows that no point in opening it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you'll definitely see from these players is that extensive game knowledge of just, how many keys you need to beat the game or each dungeon, and just how many, the different scenarios in which a chest is always going to contain a small key to avoid like soft locks or unbeatable seeds. So Pod is really good about, well known for those kind of situations. There's a couple of those chests along the way that are single chests that are locked by a small key. Or you could have like in Thieves Town where the small key's in the big chest, VTorp.
Yeah, we could. It looks like Chris's start button was stuck there for a second.
Yeah, that was weird. It's like he turned on turbo for a quick second, but it was a really slow turbo. But that one right there is one of the nice little fancy little bomb jumps, the hammer jump. It's a double pixel perfect lineup, and very well known in the vanilla game, in the vanilla speedrun, but and not very often used in the randomizer. But if done correctly, it can kind of save you, allow you to route a little bit more conveniently. Of course, with this, Chris might just go ahead and hit up that small key down there just to continue the route.
Absolutely. Otherwise, he could walk back down the bridge. The bridge gives you enough time to walk from the top to the bottom without having to do anything. You can make that walk and pick up the pot and not fall into the pit.
Oh, and by the way, the reason why it's called the hammer jump, sometimes known as the hammer yum, is because you get the hammer in that big chest in the vanilla game. And why did they call it yump? Is it just a thing that someone said once and it just kind of stuck? Because that seems to be where a lot of names come from. It's just someone made it funny, and it was so funny that it just kept happening.
That's my interpretation of how the hammer yump got to be known as the hammer yump.
Did you just say hammer yump twice?
I said hammer yump, yes, twice. I did in fact say hammer yump multiple times. Anyway,
Helmasaur King. Pretty straightforward boss, especially when you have plenty of health and plenty of armor. You're going to see Ben opting to use this cool strat where if you hold out your sword, it kind of extends the hammer's hitbox, which allows you to hit the mask over and over again. Otherwise, if you aren't holding out your sword as well, every time you hit the mask, it kind of like flips you 180, so you're facing the opposite direction, which can be kind of annoying. The only times you'll see players not do that is if they have a more powerful sword like Master Sword, Temper Sword, or even Gold Sword, because it saves on... Because those swords lag the game, and so players will not have their sword out to lag the game a little less. This game's great. Very well optimized.
And Ben also nails the final 4 hits on Helmsor King using the hammer as well. It's that's not easy. That's actually kind of tricky to get those hits in there.
So Ice Rod hand, Ben is looking like he's gonna go head over to not Turtle Rock, which is where I want him to go.
Given what Ben's completed, he's going to finish off Ice Palace, probably head up to Turtle Rock, and then end with Tower of Hera, going straight into Ganon's Tower.
And just hoping to find Hookshot along the way. I mean, here's the thing. Hookshot could be in Ganon's Tower.
I'm not going to lie. One of the first times that I was messing with the logic in probably V27 was when we'd fixed the Ganon's Tower logic, and I'm playing a seed and didn't get the hook shot, full cleared a lot of the game, and I'm like, all right, fine, maybe it's just in Ganon's Tower, and it was in the map room of Ganon's Tower, the one that you have to bonk to.
The one with the double fire bars?
Yeah.
The last time I had a hook shot in G Tower, it was in there, so I believe you. I believe your story.
Well,
as crazy as it sounds.
It's either there or it's on the right-hand side, because it obviously can't be in any of the hookshot locations.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, that's it could entirely be in Ganon's Tower, which would be, I think, if your one final item you need to beat the game, like, maybe you just go for it and clear the dungeons, like all the locations along the way that you're gonna go by, but don't go out of your way to like check other, like do that afterwards. Go to Ganon's Tower and find out first. This is really good for Chris, though.
Yeah, this is great. He's going to get his Ether Medallion, which he needs for Turtle Rock. I wonder if he's going to opt to go do that next instead of going into Ice Palace. But since he's in the area, he'll probably go up and visit Zora and then likely save and quit out of there.
Yeah, without boots, it's not very time efficient to go back for the portal for Ice Palace.
Coming up on Ben's side is going to be another very well-known, very popular, well, popular is not the right term, but very well-known bomb jump known as the Ice Palace bomb jump. Gets it off first try, and that's basically another, like, double pixel. It's not pixel perfect. There is a little bit room to breathe when doing that one, but it allows you to skip basically half the dungeon in the vanilla speedrun, but in this one, it just kind of allows you to, if you want, you can just go straight to Cold Stare and beat the boss, but it's just for more convenient routing later on, especially when you don't have the hook shot.
And it doesn't look like Chris marked Desert Palace. He didn't finish that dungeon when he was nearby, did he?
I think he got the bow and bailed.
Yeah, he didn't even enter it, I believe.
Okay.
I mean, it's a dungeon with, it's only got 2 items, so of
Well,
course
his thoughts might have been, it could be boots locked, I'm not going to waste my time yet.
That's a fair play. I mean, Ben still hasn't even been up to Death Mountain, so he hasn't done Tower of Hera either, or hasn't done Tower of Hera, so
We both have one Light World dungeon.
yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing about this game, is there's just so many different ways you can route, and you know, some players are gonna win just based on routing alone, like especially players that are just equal in execution.
Absolutely.
All you have to do is go to the right dungeon and find the required item that you need, and then you'll be able to like go mode the other dungeons, which makes it both extremely fun and exciting to watch and try and like understand this, like the game and where you think the game's trying to send you, but extremely frustrating when you lose the entire race on like a 50-50. Like, my opponent went right and I went left. Darn it, I lost by 20 minutes. Dang it.
That shouldn't happen if your opponent goes right. The person who goes left is clearly in the correct position.
Clearly.
Mathematically.
But we do see how many lefts is it equals a right?
That's 3, I believe.
3. Man, that's like 20 minutes time loss right there. But we do see ChristosOwen going into Turtle Rock, taking that ice rod he got from Palace of Darkness. This is a longer dungeon, but there are more items in here. So, and at the same time, both are good plays. Of course, ideally you want to be able to route in Turtle Rock on your way to Ganon's Tower, to save you another trip up Death Mountain, which I think Ben is trying to do that because he hasn't been up to Death Mountain the second time yet, so he'd like to go Death Mountain again, T-Rock straight to G-Tower, but sometimes the game just says no.
That's right. Luckily for both of our runners, no one is, without that hook shot, with it being super MIA, no one has a clear lead here. Ben certainly feels a little bit ahead to me at the moment, but that's only because he's mostly, his last 2 dungeons are very close to each other, up on Death Mountain, whereas Chris still has to kind of go down to Ice Palace and then over to Desert Palace.
There's a good chance that Hookshot could be sitting in Turtle Rock, which of course would work out perfectly for Ben's routing, because then it's not very often you get to go like Dark World, Mirror, do Tower Para, and then immediately go into G Tower right afterwards.
Right.
And Ben opting to use the Bombos Medallion to take out the Ice on Cold Stare. He does have half magic, but without, with only Fighter Sword, he wants to have as much magic to take out the second phase as possible. And he did that quite cleanly.
I was gonna say, I believe the Fire Rod shots do about Butter Sword damage to Cold Stare.
And speaking of Butter Sword, we're one inch closer to getting to that Butter Sword. Cold Stare dropping the Master Sword, which is the other required item we kind of forgotten about. So that's going to help for both players. Are going to be able to get whatever, the weapon that they need to at least beat the game. Of course, nobody wants to do Master Sword Silverless Ganon, for sure. That is not a fun situation to be in.
So 52 spins, I believe, is the required amount to get through that.
Well, this is going to be interesting.
No cape to be seen either, which is one of the, if you're going to be doing Master Sword Ganon, the best item to assist with that if you're not as comfortable, like if you haven't practiced it before.
Mm-hmm. Especially, cape plus half magic kind of makes it a little bit, and maybe, like a blue potion as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at the little cat. Chris is a little cat. Look at him go. Oh man, shovel only leading to a big 20.
Haven't we had that shovel forever?
Yeah, that was in the big chest of Thieves Town.
Ah.
But that was one of those one-off locations that's hard to route in. So
I think Ben's gonna do a quick check on the Pyramid Fairy here. 2 quick items.
Pyramid Fairy? What is that?
Well, in the vanilla game, she's the fairy that would normally give you the Butter Sword and the Silver Arrows. However, in Randomizer, we don't believe in giving people things for free, so we changed it to have her give you 2 random items. It requires the completion of, in the vanilla game, Misery Mire and Ice Palace, but since we decided that we were going to randomize the crystals, that meant that Skullwoods and Ice Palace became those crystals, and once you finish those 2, you get to buy the Big Red Bomb and go visit the fairy.
But Vitor, why were there also 2 chests in the other fairy cave when that's also normally not in? Hey, look, Hookshot. All right.
Oh, wow.
Hookshot in Mimic Cave for Chris, which is going to be really good for Ben, assuming he immediately goes to T-Rock next. Like, that is huge, because now, as soon as he does that, he'll be able to go mode the rest of the dungeon. But of course, at this point, you've kind of already completed most of the dungeon anyway. It's not that big of a difference, but that's going to allow Chris to save some time in Ice Palace. He's going to be able to go mode the entirety of that. He still has to go back to do Desert, so he still has a little bit more movement he has to do in the overworld to get to these locations. So it's going to make things really interesting finishing out here.
Yeah, this has become a very close thing. The knowledge of that one item is enough to put Chris in the lead. Just having the hook shot. He doesn't need anything else. Maybe.
He still needs to get one more small key, which he's going to grab on Laser Bridge, which, interesting enough, is not... Oh no, he has the Cane of Burna, so it is in logic. Okay. Whew. I was about to say, sequence breaks in my randomizer, I'm out of here.
He still has Swamp Palace he hasn't dipped into. Misery Mire he can now get into.
Willa, did you see the betting that's going on in chat?
Bet. Oh, are they wanting boots required for
Nah,
G10?
I asked, do you think I can troll Willard again? And the answers so far are hell yes, heck yes, 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 yes,
Wow.
and 12
I am
for whatever reason.
And I bet
Willard,
12. All right.
I think you can be trolled, is what I'm gathering from these.
Oh man, when I think of Link to the Past Randomizer, I think of getting trolled, like this video game, and everyone's favorite boss, Troll Dorm. Look, I'm not a very gullible person, but actually I am. So, don't do it. Now I'm on guard though. Is the thing. Now I'm aware. You messed up. You messed up. I would not even have noticed it in chat if you didn't say anything. You done goofed.
God damn it, Chad. It's all your fault. Get off. Get lost. No,
Hey Willard,
please,
did I ever tell you
please
that
don't stay. Please stay. Please, stay.
Don't go. Did you
I
ever
forget.
tell me what? Were you gonna make it funny?
No.
Speaking of funny, coming up next for Chris is the Tridex fight. Now, of course, Ben's going to have a little bit easier of a time having the Master Sword for this fight. Of course, it doesn't make that significant of a difference because both players are still going to opt to use the hammer regardless. But it's nice having the Master Sword whenever you switch over to take out the Ice Head because you can hit. You can't switch to the hammer because you need the Fire Rod out, so you can at least get a few hits with the Master Sword before wailing on him with Fire Rod like we saw Chris do. Though missing a few times.
That's okay. He threw a few extra shots just to be safe.
I gotta say, I gotta give. I think Ben's way in the lead at this point, just because of his dungeon routing. Like, because here's the thing: Chris still has to go back to desert, and the big key I think was on the right side.
Yes. Ice Palace is free.
Ice Palace is free.
Yes.
Desert is really slow, and Ben. Speaking of which, trying to, make it a little bit more fair of a fight, messing up this room. Normally, that is the route that you take when you have the hook shot, because you can just hook one of the torches, fall down the hole, and it resets you back to the beginning of the room. Ben taking another safety route, just in case. Just waiting for the torches to go out, and then he's going to head up. This is what you're supposed to do.
This is going to be a very close race. Ben he's getting scenic in this room.
You do it 100 times a day. It's easy to forget.
It's true.
Because people, load up that practice hack and they got to practice that one room in T-Rock every time.
Because, this is something to consider. Ben still has to do Tower of Hera. Yes, it's routed very good for him, but Tower of Hera right now is about equal to the desert play, I would say, in time.
But
Yes, Chris still has to do Ice Palace, but Ben still has the whole rest of Turtle Rock to do.
Listen, hear me out.
Okay, I'm listening. Hold on. I'm listening.
How many trips did Chris make up Death Mountain compared to Ben? That's like 30 minutes difference right there. That's like 2 minutes difference right there.
We're an hour or two into the seed, and you're like, at least half of it was traveling up and down the mountain.
Very important.
I think it's possible that you're correct, but I don't think you are in this case. I think it's a lot closer than you want to believe.
I want to believe.
I want to believe that this is insane that our runners are basically tracking to be in Ganon's Tower at like 105, maybe 106.
Who made this scene?
Well, and bootless.
If only this would have been different if we got that sweet hard mode. Because this is normal mode is like baby mode for these players.
Yeah,
they're good.
For real, Chad. Why?
Why?
Come on, why? That's boring.
Should have gone for swordless. That was funny the last time.
Oh goodness, everybody loves swordless.
I gotta say, I really hate swordless.
What?
Swordless came about because of the swordless NMG run that they were working on at the time, and I'm like, I want to do that run, but I don't want to have to learn anything. So I talked to the guys about what we had to do to change up the random ROM to allow You know, the use of getting into the dungeons, like pre-opening them and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know why I actually hate Swordless?
Why?
Because I'm freaking bad.
Oh,
That's the only reason.
Have you considered fixing that? When am I gonna see you in the next journey?
Can I talk to a lawyer?
Are we?
I mean, you can talk to them all you want. I don't know if it affects them.
I actually want to join the tournament, but ZSR is like, hey, that's big business. Like, wow. Okay, I got called out in chat.
So-
I'm out.
At this exact point, Ben has picked up his hook shot. He has half of a dungeon to go, and then still has to do Tower of Hera. Chris is currently heading off to Ice Palace to go get his last crystal.
But
he has
Crystal doesn't
another
have.
30. He has 30 more minutes of climbing the mountain.
But shut up. Hold on. But Chris doesn't have his Master Sword, so I'm curious if he's going to elect to check more stuff along the way or just assume he's going to find an NG Tower. I would assume that he's going to assume that that Chris is going to find a Sword and G Tower. So I'd easily see him just go ahead and go mode this dungeon.
I lost how many assumptions we had. I think he'll definitely check 2 chests.
I'd ask that Butt is going to go mode this dungeon.
Oh, we're getting Ben Butts in chat.
Yep.
No, but I see him definitely doing the Pengator. Never mind.
That is a go mode Ice Palace I'm looking at right there. All right.
Yeah, that's
Things-
NMG. Yeah.
Things just got interesting. So this is going to be very close. It could easily come down to a G Tower route. Very easily.
But Ben still has to do Tower of Hera.
Listen. It's not even basement required Tower of Hera. I don't know why you're so fascinated with Tower of Hera. Also, I'm curious, Ben is grabbing some more chests along the way, maybe hoping to find silvers or another sword upgrade. Generally, players want to at least have Tempered Sword or Master Sword Silvers. Nobody wants Master Sword Silverless. Maybe the viewers want it. I want it, because that's kind of hype. I don't know.
That's a good way to end the game when you know the players are skilled enough to actually do that. I would say it's funny. I recall somebody talking about, like, runners of this caliber don't need the lamp, and it's like, well, they don't need it, but no one's like wanting to finish the game without it. Like, if you have it, it makes the game so much easier, so why not take it?
Yeah, like, especially for pod, I still need to have that resource up, because I am in no interest of memorizing Dark Maze. Nope.
The Dark Maze, interesting.
I have, yeah. I mean, Total Room is fine if you have Fire Rod.
Sure.
Or if you have a sword upgrade that you can just do the normal, like the NMG Turtle Room. Oh, for those wondering, we keep saying NMG. NMG is the, like, any percent, no major glitches. It's like the most popular vanilla speedrun category.
I think over 400 people have a time listed on, like, the leaderboard for it, which is that's a huge number of people for the game.
Yeah, there's a really hype tournament going on. It's a lot of fun. I recently got knocked out of it, but that's beside the point.
Guys, can I make a quick announcement?
Of course.
We
You're
got
welcome to.
a $100 donation from Anonymous saying more Zelda, yes please. This actually puts us at $2,984, so we're only $16 away from hitting the $3,000. Guys, you know what you have to do, right?
We have
Master Sword Breath of the Wild is still a bit away, so let's try that. But you don't have much time, so please go do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Make it happen. Make it so.
Also,
Yo, that's
we
incredible.
have we have.
Oh wow! Hold on. Tempered Sword Hookshot Cave. That's huge.
Goodness. That is
It's
super
true.
huge.
There's a
But-
good chance that Chris might not check that. But you're
Well-
right. Look how much time Chris has going up to Death Mountain, as I've been saying the whole time. He's going to be going into G Tower first.
another thing is Chris has his 7th crystal, and this is a good time to throw numbers into chat. Why would they throw numbers into chat?
Well, Vitor, it's real simple, you see. Coming up in Ganon's tower, there are 22 chests, and in one of those chests is a very required key, the big key, that allows us to get upstairs and finish the rest of the dungeon. So, with that in mind, where do you guys think that is going to be? We'll be counting along or doing our best.
So also, sorry for everyone in chat from Speed Gaming, you have to use !bet in front of your number, else it won't work. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. !bet to put your guess in. Another note is if you're betting on 3, that means more than likely, depending on how our runner, more than likely Chris in this case, routes Ganon's tower, you're guessing it's going to be on the torch. And why would the torch be a wonderful location, Willard?
Well, you see, Vitor, it's quite simple. In fact, if the item is on the torch, then that would mean that the boots, one of everyone's favorite item in game, is required to beat game.
Yes, which would make them have to then either search Ganon's tower or not.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Oh, Chris. Wow. He thought about it. He thought for a good second.
And this is gonna prove good. Don't just check one and leave. You keep going. You go all the way. You know it. You know you did right there, Chris. The rest of this stuff is trash. Quit looking. You have a sword.
That's incredible.
Okay.
It's one thing if he had just gone straight for it, but that thought process, he's like, I should check this. I mean, it's convenient. Like, it's 4 chests right there, and you just unlocked it, so you got to be thinking there's got to be something valuable in here.
These guys are going to be entering within seconds of each other. Because all Ben has to do is walk back into that portal, and...
Oh, wow.
By the way,
be...
I really gotta say the best guess on the location of the big key definitely was simple geometry. That was the best guess.
Very nice. All right, so guesses should be
welcome back,
probably stopped at this point. And we got Chris going first.
Chest number 1.
Nothing. More nothing.
Ooh.
Oh, he's going.
The bamboozle. This might cost him.
Well, it's good knowledge, right? If you know it's on the left side, if you find out it happens to be not there.
Sorry, guys. There's no boots required this seed.
That's a pity. They might still find boots though.
Boots in Stealthos room is a good one.
And this is actually gonna seriously come down to execution. Both of our runners, half a room apart essentially, and basically going the exact same route.
There it is. What was that? Chest number 4?
Yeah, and if Ben just takes the key in pieces, they'll be like in sync with each other. Nope.
Oh my gosh. I can hear myself.
Can you hear yourself?
Yes. Now I can. No, I can. Vitor, I can hear myself through you. Vitor, why?
Can you?
No, I'm just being annoying. Anyway, going up the gauntlet.
These guys don't need silver. At this point, if your opponent hasn't quote unquote finished the race, I don't know. I think I would just I'd be rushing for the end.
This is gonna come down to, who's got the better land molas 2? Who's got the better mold door in 2? Who gets the G tower despawn? Who doesn't?
That one's kind of huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of RNG coming up in this dungeon just based on different enemy movement. Of course, for the randomizer, I personally made it so that
the boss RNG is the same.
Yeah, that thing.
He didn't do anything with these rooms leading up the gauntlet.
No, I made sure to make them as annoying as possible, personally. That Willard touch right there.
Gauntlet 2. Gauntlet 2 kind of stresses me out sometimes. It's not a hard room, but those Stalfos are little jumpers.
like that movement right up the middle spikes. That was nice.
Guys, you know everybody can do gauntlet, right? It's not even hype, so let's just read some donations. Oh my-
Sure, go for it.
Nah, I actually
Yes,
want to make a small announcement. We actually cracked $3,000. Thank you, everyone.
Yo, let's go.
I will read some donations maybe later. Maybe. Well, I guess probably.
Oh man, 2 of the landmills is going for the quick hops, so not gonna be able to get a. Look at that movement though.
Yeah, that was
nice.
line it up for him.
Guys, if you haven't heard, the G Tower despawn is.
Oh, getting another quick hop. So Ben
Right,
3
so-
cycles Landmo too.
Chris still in the lead. Only got a few rooms left. And this is what I talked about earlier with that Cane of Samaria. Very useful for taking out these two Wizrobe rooms. Very quick. If you somehow get a seed where you don't need Cane of Samaria to beat the game, the next best use would be just really well placed arrow shots in certain directions. So
Or Bombos.
or bombos if you're lazy.
Yeah, Bombos.
Yeah, bombos. This is a good one. Quick torch room, half magic and fire rod makes it so you can get through this pretty quickly without having to have any extra menuing. You know, here's the thing. You know, we haven't had boots this entire seed, but both these guys are about to get a sub 120. So
Chris opting to check the top of the tower chest.
I mean, at this point, if you don't check them and your opponent does, and one of them has silvers, like that's GG right there.
That's fair.
It looks like Ben is opting to do the same. All right. Well, we got one more chest left. The very, very popular and well-named Moldorn 2 chest. Let's see if he's holding on to those silver arrows. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing some good old-fashioned NMG strats coming up. It's going to be good. Just a piece of heart. Not even a refill either. So both these players are going to be heading into this Aga 2 fight with 3.5 and 2.5 hearts. Of course, both of them do have red potions still, I believe.
Yes.
And yeah, that's it. So
I think Ben might actually even still have a fairy.
Yo guys,
sure.
yo guys,
Yo,
that shit just
Hey.
got validated.
the thing did what now? Anyway, Aga 2. We didn't get to see Aga 1, and so we get to see his more difficult version, Aga 2, where there's 3 of them.
Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and say that Aga 2's easier.
It's not. It's just shorter.
Oh, well, that's easier. Wow, Chris getting a nice one there, and Ben getting some. Did he get a triple there? It looked like a triple.
Oh man, almost got the triple on that
Oh.
shot. It was close.
Just because he was being. If Ben could have pulled off the double triple there, which is what he was heading towards, we would both be dropping in here at the exact same time. But it looks like we're about 2 seconds apart. Maybe 3, maybe 5. I don't math well.
Well, how many? We're about 1 Death Mountain heart, I'd say.
You think it's one Death Mountain climb?
Yeah, I'd say so. But 2.5 hearts each, you know, that's they both have. I think they're both on red mail at this point. Oh
Yes.
no, Ben's only on blue mail. So 1 fire bat would probably take him out. I think it does 3 hearts of damage with blue mail, 2 hearts with red mail. So
We got a single cycle for Chris on round 1. And it looks like, I think he's going to get the single cycle on 2.
yeah,
I think he laid enough in there.
really clean 1-1. We didn't even get time to explain the Ganon fight, but basically hit him with the sword, and yeah, pretty simple.
And our runners, based off of this, should see the exact same route in RNG and Ganon.
Mhm.
Because they both did the exact same. I'm like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, they both got the 1-1, so no silvers. So we got 12 tempered spins. Dude, missing the torch glitch could be bad here. Oh, Ben. All right, Chris has a pretty tremendous lead at this point, and by tremendous I mean like a whole Death Mountain. But can he out-execute Ben in these swordless hits. This is crazy how close this came down to. Holy cow.
And these both are excellent runners, and they know how to get triple hits with Fire Rod.
Yeah, even easier when you have half magic. It's also really hard to keep track of counting for both players separately.
Yeah, I can't do it. I don't think anyone's missed anything.
So as soon as you see Ganon start exploding, or disappear entirely, oh, there they are. Some ghost-like explosions, but that's gonna do it. ChristosOwen taking the win at Zelda Speedruns Marathon 2018. Link to the Past Randomizer Standard Randomized Swords race. That was a mouthful. GG.
Wow.
A 1:19:08. That's ridiculous.
Wow.
That's a jet seat, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
That was fast.
Oh, I forgot to... Ben, sorry! Ben, I forgot to stop you. No! Okay, I will fix him.
Wow.
The racer chat's hilarious.
That's incredible. Well, I'm assuming we're gonna get these nerds in for an interview,
Yeah,
right?
we definitely will. What a match, though! Jesus.
Woo! Down to the wire. That was beautiful. Like that. Whew. It's not very often you get a race that close, less than 30 seconds. So, especially from two top tier runners, they both made all the right plays, and just even despite the fact having different dungeon orders, still ended up routing the exact same. Once again, it could have even just came down to a G tower difference if Chris had gone right or Ben had gone right instead. But
nope, they definitely were perfectly right. GG Ben.
Hey, thanks.
This was fun to watch.
Wait,
when
actually,
you watch that back,
just quickly, I will actually go over to the interview screen for it, because, hey, why not?
oh,
all right.
Okay, here we go.
Chris will be joining us in a second.
Okay.
Ben, that was an amazing race.
Seems like it.
it was close.
So how did you feel looking in chat when you were probably about to type .done as well, and to see?
Well, I don't know if I was about to type done. Actually, I didn't know what I was about to type. Just I don't know. I was feeling pretty good. You did.
Okay.
Yeah, when you type
You
down,
were trolling
when you type down, Ganon was dying on my side.
So yeah, Christos.
Wow.
Won,
Okay.
Christos won with a 1:19:06, and Ben got a 1:19:20 for my timer. So.
Wow. Less than 15 seconds. Damn. Good game, Ben. Wow.
GG.
It,
Were neck and neck. It was in the mid game was hard to tell because you guys were definitely playing different routes in the overworld, but that end game was basically just like watching you two right next to each other all through Ganon's tower all the way to the end.
It was especially interesting because Chris had gone into T-Rock earlier before doing Desert and Ice, while Ben did Ice into T-Rock Tower of Hera, and you guys still ended up finishing, especially like Chris stopping to check Hookshot Cave and get that sword. Both entering G Tower a couple seconds apart was insane.
I really nearly didn't. Like, I was about to walk past it, and I was like, well, I still have Master Sword, and if there's an early GT big key, I don't... Like, with 4 chests in, 20 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever it is, I was like, I'm just going to check here. Because it could have been boots as well, so I was like, this might not be bad. And that paid off really well. And then I metagamed so hard. I was like, about to go right in GT, and I was like, no, don't do this, because I know Ben is going to go left. So if it's close, I have to go left. And I'm really glad I did that decision.
Yeah.
So guys,
Shen going left is better.
I agree, Ben.
Except for when it's on the right.
so guys.
I've never seen. Sorry. Go.
No, Ben, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please go.
Okay.
I'm done.
So guys, just I need to say it. This was the first ever A Link to the Past randomizer race or match on ZSR, and I'm still shaking. So I offered the chat to ask you a few questions, if that's fine.
Sure.
So the first question actually is, what's your favorite sandwich?
Okay, this might be controversial, but my favorite sandwich is tuna and sweet corn.
Okay.
Just
No.
salami. It's good for me. Just salami on it, and that's fine.
Okay. So,
Sweet.
I actually...
Hey, don't knock it till you try it, Willem.
I just had a tuna sandwich last night, but I did not think to put sweet corn on it. But I'll think about it next time.
Instead of thinking about it, just do it.
No, don't do it. Don't listen to him.
I'll tell you
No,
what,
no.
I'll bring you one. I'll bring you one to SGDQ.
Okay, cool, sweet. Just fill our whole mini fridge in the hotel with the tuna sweet corn sandwiches.
Ugh. Then put it on your pizza or something.
Next question.
Thank you.
Next question is actually from me. When will we do this again? Silence. Okay, I'm taking that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm like, Rando is so fun, and there's so many different people who would be honored to be on ZSR doing Rando. So like, there would be no shortage of volunteers.
Absolutely.
Make it happen.
Yeah, so we could definitely make something else happen.
Yeah, I'm really... Okay, question from...
Actually,
Question from Trevor. Go ahead, Chris.
I have I was gonna say, I have a proposal that somebody else has mentioned to me as well. And I think ZSR would probably be the best place to do that, which would be a Zelda 1 to Zelda 3 rando relay.
Yes, yes.
Oh my god.
Please.
So 3 separate players in teams, and you play through Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Zelda 3.
So, chat, you just heard that. To make that happen, you just need to donate $1 million in the next 20 minutes. Nah, just kidding.
20 minutes!
Promised here, this will happen by the end of 2018.
Oh.
I would love to.
That's
I would
promised
love
right
to
now.
do that on a team with Dig Shake and Fred. That would be fun.
Oh, I would watch that for sure.
So just one more thing, one more question, and then we'll actually just switch over, because the next run is coming up. From question, Leo MWO asks, with the 2 versus 2 tournaments keep popping up, could we see you two as a team?
Ooh, that would be fun.
Spicy.
I mean, we need to give other teams a chance, that's the problem.
Dang!
I would love to team up with Ben. Like, me and Ben against, like, Andy plus somebody. Now, that would be fun, I think.
Yeah, I do like that. I mean, I've never done 2v2, so trying with Christos sounds like a good idea.
You guys would wreck whoever you were playing against, I'm sure.
Nah, we'd have fun.
Yeah, we'd have fun. As long as it's not key sanity.
Says the champion.
Key sanity.
Yes. Champion of Key Sanity who loves it so much.
Yeah, me and Ben
He loved-
nearly didn't join. I wish we didn't. Even
He
though
loved it so
like, I
much.
won, I still wish I had that time back. Actually, VThorpe, I have a question for you if we have time.
Yeah, sure.
As a randomizer developer, VTorp, what is going on with all the items in Escape other than Uncle? Because we get the hammer and like.
That's what I was
feel like we
saying.
have so much stuff.
Hey, one race.
It's
does
not perception bias.
No, one race. It's perception bias. There was nothing in Kakariko, and I will say I've had a number of seeds where I get everything in Kakariko. It just this race, everything there were a few things in Escape, and there was nothing in Kakariko. It happened.
Hey, that was true. I didn't actually notice that.
Well, of course you didn't, because of your perception bias.
Hey, hold on.
Woo!
There was a red. There
The
was a
bird.
red boomerang in Kakariko. Don't be hating.
Oh, I actually used that to check the prize pack too.